Hey guys, today we're gonna have a first quick look at the new fully electric Dacia, this Dacia Spring Electric. Now this is the cheapest electric car in Europe. It starts at 17,890 euros. And today I'm gonna show you what you're getting for the money and of course what the range is. So let's start with the range. Under the back seat lays a 27.4 kilowatt hours battery pack, and that will give you a range of 230 kilometers. Now that's on paper. In reality it's more between 180 and around 200. And because the battery pack is not that big, you can charge it up quite quickly. You can charge it up to 7.4 kilowatts and then the battery pack is full within 4.5 hours. It can also fast charge up to 30 kilowatts. Now that's not that fast, but again the battery is not that big. You can charge up the battery at a fast charge location up to 80% within an hour. Fast charging is however an option. You have to pay extra to have the car to be able to fast charge. Obviously you can also use a household plug to charge up this car, but then it will take around 14 hours, so that's way too long. So just like with every other electric car, you really need a wall box at home or a charging station nearby. Now let's talk performance. As you may know, electric cars are pretty fast off the line, but just like the price, Dacia does this a little bit different with this electric car. There's an electric motor in the front that drives the front wheels that only produces 45 horsepower. Now that's not that much, and 0 to 100 kilometers an hour will take 19 seconds, and the top speed is 125 kilometers an hour. What you need to know about this new Dacia is that it's in fact not completely new. Renault sells an electric car in China since 2019 called the KZE. And as you may know, Dacia is part of Group Renault, and you could say this Dacia is a European version of the Renault KZE. And the Renault KZE is actually derived from another Renault model, the Renault Kwid. That's a car that Renault sells in Latin America and India. So what about the design? Up front you got two light units, one on top and one down here. Up top is your daylight running lights. You got a small sleek LED strip, and down here are your regular lights. Now in the center, of course, the grille. It's a typical Dacia grille, except it's fully closed. There's no combustion engine in the back here that needs cooling. So they closed the grille. The grille has a new function because the charging point is behind the Dacia logo. You can't open this cover on the outside. You have to press a button that's under the steering wheel, and then the cover will open automatically. At the back of the Dacia Spring we find the Dacia logo at the center, and in the logo is a backup reverse camera. Now the camera is an option. And on the bottom right is an electric badge, and on the side of the car there's also a badge that says electric, so people know you're not driving just a simple Dacia but a fancy electric one. And down here you have a bumper that has kind of a crossover look, which makes the car look a bit more tough. Now the rear lights, you should forget, we're driving a pre-production model. Now everything is finished on this car. This is the end result that you will see driving on the roads, except the rear lights. They are gonna change. They're gonna keep the same shape, but on the inside they will get LED lights that form a Y shape. Now let's open the hatch. There's a small button that you have to press and up it goes. Now there's no upholstery on the inside of the tailgate. That's typically for Dacia. They're always looking for places to cut costs, and this is a good example of that. Now on the inside there's 290 liters of luggage space. That's actually quite good. This is a small car, it's a city car, so that's actually pretty impressive. And this is also the place where you can store your charging cables, which is still a pretty weird thing to say when we're talking about a Dacia. Now that's the outside. What do you get on the inside? Now as you might expect, a lot of really hard plastics. However, they did try a couple of things to make it look a bit nicer here on the inside. For example, this blue decorative strip here on the inside. Blue is of course the color from Dacia and also the color of electricity. But also, for example, take this door handle. It looks quite good. It looks like aluminium. It of course isn't. It's just plastic. But hey, it's a good and cheap solution to give the car a bit more appeal. And the Spring Electric will come in 3 versions. They're gonna make a cargo version that doesn't have a back seat. They're gonna make a consumer version, and they're gonna make this version. This is the business version. Now this business version is made for like car sharing programs. And because a lot of people were gonna use this version of the Spring Electric, they got fake leather seats. It actually looks quite decent, but the most important thing is that they are quite durable. Then the back seats. I'm sitting behind myself. I'm 180. There's enough for headroom. This is actually quite a high car, but there's not a lot of leg room. This is not a place to be if you're an adult. Only for short trips it's okay, but for long trips you're not comfortable here. There are no USB ports down here, but there are electric windows here, not just on the front, also on the back. And not all Dacia models have that, but this one has it, so that's a good thing. So on the dashboard, a lot of hard black plastic as well, but in the middle around the fans and the infotainment screen you can find some black piano finish and some blue accents. In the center there's a 7-inch screen. It's an optional screen and it's actually really fast, faster than I expected, but you should not compare it to your own mobile phone in terms of speed. The system is quite simple with clear menus and it also runs Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Below the screen are a couple of buttons. With these buttons you can open the windows, because those switches are not in the door. Then there's a button for the central locking. Here's a button for the eco modus. If you go into the eco modus, the engine will only produce 31 horsepower and the top speed is limited at 100 kilometers an hour. If you go a bit further down, we found buttons for the climate control. Again, very simple. Your temperature, air conditioning, air circulation, stuff like that. If we go all the way down, we found a button to turn off the ASP. The car has ASP and ABS. Here's a speed limiter, and then here you can find a 12-volt socket. Down below is a storage area, and then here is a knob where you can turn the car into neutral, drive, and of course reverse. Then all the way in the back there's an old-fashioned handbrake. Now here in front of you we find a little screen, only 3.5 inch, where you can see the very essential stuff like the speedometer and how much range you got and how many percentage of range you got. Now on the left you can see how much power you are using, and you can also see how much regenerative braking you are doing. So how is it to drive in the new fully electric Dacia, the Dacia Spring Electric? Well, it's not as fast as most electric cars. 0 to 100 kilometers an hour takes 19 seconds, and it actually feels like 19 seconds. However, 0 to 50 kilometers an hour is actually not that bad. The electric engine in the front only produces 45 horsepower and 120 newton meters of torque, but you get instant torque. So 0 to 50 is actually not that bad. It's not really zippy or fast, but it's fast enough, especially for the city, and this is after all a city car. The car is actually quite nimble and you got a good turning radius, and the range is actually not that bad, especially if you stay in the city. The car will do up to 230 kilometers on paper. Now as I said, in reality it's more like 180 or 200. But if you really stay inside the city limits and you never drive faster than 50 kilometers an hour and you do a lot of regenerative braking, which this car can do, you actually might hit like 250 or maybe 300, especially if you don't use the heater or the air conditioner. Now you can also use this car outside of the city. If you live like in a village and you do your shopping in another village, that's definitely not a problem. Unless you really have to do long trips on the motorway, that's probably not a good idea. And it actually makes this car a pretty ideal second car in the household. If you need a car to bring the kids to soccer or do the school trips, then this is a perfect car, because it's actually more spacious than, let's say, a Volkswagen e-up or an electric Smart or an electric Renault Twingo. And you got more space in the back, and it's definitely a lot cheaper. And it's also a lot lighter. The car only weighs 970 kilos. That's mainly because the battery is not that big, but that's really light for a car, and especially for an electric car. And if you compare it, like for example, with like a Volkswagen e-up that weighs like 1200 kilos. However, there's not a lot of sound insulation here. That may explain why the car doesn't weigh that much as an e-up. It's not that bad if you don't drive that fast, like up to 50 kilometers an hour. But if you go faster, around 80 or 100, you can really hear a lot of noise from the outside. But then again, you're probably not going to drive for 2 or 3 hours in this car, and mainly because the battery will run out. So that's it for this first quick look at the fully electric Dacia. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you at the next one.